What's up everyone, MK Tom Brady here. So in this video, I want to go over a more realistic timeline in which we can expect to see some new content, some change come to MK11. You know, it's all over the place. People expect, oh, we're going to get a combat pack for sure, or definitely an overhaul, or just a balance patch. Maybe all of the above. But what's more debated than the content itself is the timeline in which we can expect to see some form of new content come to MK11. And it's really all over the place because you have a lot of people say, it took 6 months to go from Aftermath to Ultimate. We're only 4 months into MK Ultimate now. Be a little more patient. And a lot of people like April for the date to get something because, hey, it's not only the 2-year mark of MK11, but the MK movie also gets released in April, so what a great time to really just unload with tons of content. Movie, 2-year anniversary, bam, here's the new content. That's 5 months in to MK Ultimate as well, so it's closer to that Aftermath to Ultimate timeline. Some people think May, which is right at that 6 months mark, which matches the Aftermath to Ultimate timeline. And other people even can go out as far as June, and they think June's probably about as far as we're going to have to go to wait. And that's actually not true, and I want to go over why. So, right now there is a Pro Series going on. The final qualifier, not the Pro Series itself, the final qualifier of the final region ends Sunday, June 6th. Now, while all the qualifiers are done, there's still a matter of final combat for each region. Now, normally, final combat is held several months after the last qualifier, but that's because everything was offline at that point, and you had to wait until the next really big offline major. With things being online, you don't have to wait so long. You can pretty much do it any time. So we're going to do a very optimistic timeline here. Normally, they don't even announce Final Combat until after the Pro Series qualifiers have concluded. We're going to go best case scenario here. We're going to speed things up. So let's say in May, they say, guess what, boys? Final Combat is going to be in June. Normally, there's a tournament every week. Let's say they say, we're going to give you guys 2 weeks to prepare because this is Final Combat, and we're going to start it on the 20th of June. You see, it's going to take a couple of weeks to get this done at minimum because there are, unlike the previous Pro Series that was held offline where there was just one Final Combat tournament with all the qualifiers, with all the placers from the qualifiers held around the world. They took all their points and they brought the top 16 point leaders into one tournament. Because we're online, netcode issues, everything's done by region. To do every regional final in one day is impossible. It's time zones all across the world, not possible. I don't even think you can do it over the weekend. I personally think it'll take 3 weeks, but because we want to expedite things, let's just say best case scenario, it takes place over a 2-week span. So last qualifier, June 6th. Then they say, give you 2 weeks because this is Final Combat. This is the end of the end. Lab up. Get ready for your finals. And then over the next 2 weeks, the last 2 weeks of the month of June, the weekend of the 20th and the 27th, let's say they do a whole weekend. I don't even think they can do all the qualifiers in just 2 days. I mean, all the finals, I should say. So let's just say they do it that Saturday and Sunday of the last 2 weeks of June. And that's the end of Final Combat. That's the end of the Pro Series. Now, people will say, why can't we get content in between then? Because this, to me, bricks everything through the month of June. This guarantees we get nothing, nada, zip, until after the month of June. So now we're post 7 months into Ultimate and still nothing. Now, someone's always going to say, Tom, I don't mean to, break it to you here, but, we did get new characters in between the Pro Series qualifiers in Season 1 of the Pro Series. Well, that's because everything was offline and there wasn't a tournament every week for a qualifier. You see, right now, if they released a combat pack, let's say it comes out on a Tuesday, Well, that Friday, the prelims, or that Saturday are the preliminaries of the qualifier. So less than 6 days in, 7 days into a new combat pack, you got a bunch of characters who no one knows how to fight, no one knows anything about, and they're running wild in top 8s, and it's just not fair because you're introducing new stuff that no one knows how to deal with potentially into a qualifying tournament. That's not really fair, or even change the game in any way. Like, they're not going to overhaul the game in the middle or do a balance patch in the middle of these qualifiers just because it's 3/4 into the season. They're going to change the game in which everybody's playing, and now you're playing this version of the game. They're not going to do that. And the same thing for Final Combat. They're not going to add a bunch of characters. You see, when it was offline, you had at least a month, maybe 2, from one tournament to the next, and several months between the last qualifier and Final Combat. So you had plenty of time to adjust to a new character, a new patch, anything. You have only days to weeks to adjust to that now, maybe a week at most. And that's just not enough time to ensure fairness for the players who qualified in one version of the game and now they got to play it out. See, because you get no money for the qualifiers either. On this online format, you win 0 for the qualifiers. You only win money for your final. So to change the game in which you qualified for, and now you got a chance to win money and you're playing a different game that you qualified in, or with different characters, and you don't have enough time to kind of get used to that, it's just not going to happen. So all the way through the month of June, everything is bricked. So no content in the month of June, boys. Bad news. Now we'll go to July. So let's say a few days after Final Combat, the final qualifier, they say, here we go, boys. Let's give you some new content. They could do it that first Tuesday after Final Combat, which is right at the end of June, but people are going to want to catch up. Someone will have missed some of the regions, and they're going to be watching the VODs, and everyone's going to be talking about the finals. So let's assume they give it a couple of days. That Thursday, bam, trailer, new content, MK11 Omega Ultimate Edward John Boone Edition, right? And bam, trailer gets released. All through the 4th of July weekend, everyone's talking about, man, do you see the new characters? Man, are they going to, let's say it's an overhaul on top of that, right? Let's, best case scenario here. Man, do you see everything they're doing to the game? Holy crap, I can't wait. But they're not just going to drop the patch right away. They're not going to drop a combat pack right away because they're selling the combat pack. It's bad business to just say, boom, combat pack, buy it now, just released. You want people to know it's coming so they know to look for it, so they expect to buy it. You don't want to release a product in which God knows how many people may not even know was released yet. You want to give the word time to spread. And you also want to market that. So here comes the marketing. Combat cast, boys. Let's say they give you 3 characters. Let's say they go over all 3 characters on the first combat cast. And then the second combat cast, they said they do a week later. And now we'll go over all the balance and gameplay changes. Because if it's an overhaul like people are expecting or hoping for, or at least some type of major changes, it's going to take probably its own combat cast to go over. And then finally, the new game comes out. Actually, I don't know why I have that on a Monday. It should be on a Tuesday. The 20th, let's say, of July. Bam, we finally get Mortal Kombat Ultimate Omega Supreme Edward John Boone Edition and the Combat Pack July 20th. Now, this is the best case scenario here, right? This is the best, like, if anything goes wrong, if anything gets pushed back a week, anything at all, now we're more end of July into August now. So this puts us 8 3/4 months post MK11 Ultimate's release. That is a long time. And if anything happens, anything even delays things by a week, now we go into August, which is 9 months. And that's just a lot of time to actually have to wait. So this is where I think the best case scenario comes in. I think this is the best case scenario for when we could expect some form of new content. The thing is, I don't know if we're going to get some type of overhaul. I'm not really sure. But even if it's a combat pack, that's not enough. Like, I expect at least a combat pack, probably characters that are already done. Sector, Cyrex, Chronica, they're already done. They're already on your game. So in theory, they would just be reselling you characters you already own. And it'll pump a little bit of life into the game for a couple of months. Maybe have the game limp along until finally they can announce the next game. But I just don't see any type of overhaul coming this late into the game's life. I just don't see it happening. And this begs the question, why didn't something happen sooner, right? Why didn't they change the game sooner? To where now we're at the very end and we're probably not going to get the type of overhaul. They're just going to do something quick, temporary, quick fix, pump some hype into the game for a quick month, month and a half, 2 months, and then the game will fizzle out. The game is not dead yet because we're hoping, right? There's hope. As long as there's hope, the game's not going to die. It's when there's no hope that, okay, now we're in trouble. After that combat pack, there's going to be no hope. We know, you know what? We didn't get the changes we want. There's no overhaul coming 3-4 months down the line. This is it. And the game will limp on for the next few months, and then finally it'll die off. Because it's just very disappointing. The problem isn't people that say, oh, what we need are more characters. We don't need new characters. New characters is never the problem. The problem is the game in which the characters get put into. Now again, going back to what I just said, why didn't this happen sooner? Well, it's because there's just way too many yes men. And that's who NetherRealm listens to. The yes men. And what's unfortunate is these yes men feel like if they don't, yes, greatest game ever. Yes, nothing wrong. Everyone that has the complaint, they're scrubs. They don't know anything. NRS says, yeah. These haters, they don't know the game. That's why they're how they are. Problem is these yes men feel like they are compelled to be yes men. Otherwise, they're going to lose some type of position, something in some way, shape, or form they feel like they're going to lose out on. And this is really kind of weird. Like, how can a company expect to actually make a better product by saying, you better just kneel and say, yes, this is the greatest thing ever, or you're out. And this is how people really feel, which is why we have so many yes men. Yes, they just don't want to say anything about the game that's critical, which makes it really hard to improve the product. Now, yes, look, there are a lot of haters, people that are going to take... Now, the thing about haters, they have their own personal agenda against the game, but they take legitimate criticism from people who are not haters, and they just say, yeah, see, the game's trash because of this. And they piggyback off of legitimate reasons, and then they just say the game is trash because of whatever kind of actual legitimate reason that came from people who do care about the game. But see, these yes men who NetherRealm listen to, they lump everybody in, would say, yeah, these guys with legitimate concerns that actually want the game to be better, they're the same as these haters, and they lump them all in the same group of these are just NRS haters, they're MK haters, they don't know the game, they're suck, they're trash, garbage, and hence NRS only listens to the yes men who says the game's fine, and nothing ever gets done. And now here we are finally at the end of the end, and most people are now in agreement to the point that not even the yes men can shut us up. And even though finally NRS is now hearing everybody, it's too late because we're too far into the game. They can't possibly do 2 years worth of fixes, and this game does need that. They can't possibly do it now. And the real thing is, if the game was actually trash, nobody would care. We say the game is trash and we'd move on. Problem is, this game is the furthest thing from trash. This game is actually a really good game. It's got a lot of really good things about it. It's that the things that are wrong, this is the problem. The things that are wrong are so bad. Like the characters being so watered down that you're doing down 1, down 3, down 4 throw. Like you can't have fun playing like that. The game can't live with characters that do this without freedom, without their own type of outside of the generic way to play the game. It's besides all the other issues, it's got a boredom factor that it's hard to explain. And That's what's really hurting the game. So many issues, the characters, the way they're done, just so much needs to be changed. It really does require an overhaul. And unfortunately, I personally don't think it's going to get one, because we have a lot of these yes men that say, you got to love the game, right? Hey, you hater, get out of here. You got to love the game. We got to love the game. It's all about playing together and love the game. This is the best one. I love this line. We got to be thankful for what NRS gave us, man. They didn't have to give us anything. Newsflash, they didn't give us anything. If you got this game day one, you paid $155 for MK11, Aftermath, and Ultimate. They didn't give it to us. They sold it to us. And as paying customers who love Mortal Kombat, we're saying we want more. We want this game that we see the potential in. We want it to live up to that potential. Like right now, so many things that could be great are just scattered and not done right at all. From the slotting of moves, the variations, some things in the system, just character archetypes not even existing, just so many things in the game that just take away from it, despite all the great things that are in the game that we can see. And we just want them to finish it. And who knows if that's really going to happen. I would love to be wrong. I hope to God I'm sitting here several months later making a video about how awesome the new overhaul is, and how guys like me are just in shock and have to eat my words because NRS delivered. I have my doubts. But you never know. But let me know in the comments section. Let me know what you guys think. And I'm always interested to hear from all you guys who watch the video. As always, everyone, thanks so much for supporting all my videos. I really appreciate it. And stay tuned for more content.